welcome to Kim Talks Resilience, where we share stories of insight and inspiration in life, love, and business with resilient women from around the world. Speaking with authors, entrepreneurs, founders, and coaches to learn their strategies for a more resilient life so we can all build the life we love. I'm your host, Kim Hayden. All righty, welcome back. Thank you so much for taking your time, which I know is super precious because I know it seems like every day I'm not even at 24 hours anymore. I think my days maybe are like 22 hours and I'm trying to do 30 hours worth of productivity in that timeline. So I do really appreciate you taking time and tuning in. For those of you that know me, you know that I'm kind of a little bit all over the place. I love the creative, but the creative with more of the focus on how do we get it out to the world? How do we share it with the world? I'm the gal that sponge painted my entire house with leaves and vines back in the 90s to where when you walked in, it was a bit of a forest. I have DIY'd many home parties and birthday parties and glued this and glittered that and creative events. And so I love a creative mind. And I'm really looking forward because I find a lot of our creatives, be it authors, artists, musicians, they don't live the fulfillment of the life they truly want because they don't understand why they're not getting that revenue and why they're not moving forward, why they can't get a house or go on a trip. And I love when I come across somebody that understands the business of this world and is passionate about the creatives. And so our guest today brings both of those to the table. Let me just bring in, and I'm hoping I say this correctly. Peshah is the founder of Swanky Genius and an innovative dedicated to assisting artists to succeed financially and feel uplifted in their creative careers. The passion was sprung from Peshah's worked for several decades with international companies and startups while aiding nonprofits, causes, and organizations through her art forms. Now, Peshah is the founder of a 1213 jewelry, a handcrafted created line sold in museums. She is the developer and initiator of the Community Projects movement. Community Projects' purpose is to elevate artists and stabilize towns, cities, and neighborhoods by developing thriving relationships between artists and community. And I think this is a really important conversation because since COVID, the whole construct of the corporate world is eroding. 30% of people are not going to go back. They want to follow their passion. And yet they don't know how to make the passion cover their mortgage. And so I'm really looking forward. I believe with the evolution of AI and technology, we're moving back into a renaissance stage where the story visually, audibly, tactile, like that touch, that's where we're moving. And I love it. So welcome to the show. And am I saying your name correctly?
That's correct. Yeah.
Peshah. Awesome. Yay! Yay for a win for my team. Awesome.
Very good start. That's why it's unusual. So it was my great aunt's name. She lived a shorter life. And so it's something to carry on. It actually means bringing the covenant to the next. So there's a lot of weight in it, which is positive.
That's amazing. Yeah. So, and that's the covenant to the next generation would have been the storyteller, the bard, the artist that would have through before everybody had access to the written language.
Right.
It was all done. That is a fortuitous name. Absolutely. So give us
I'm sorry. In Hebrew, they say Vidor. It means generation. You said because we were all of us no matter what nationality we are, we were all said the only way that communication was on, and it's beautiful to be able to be a storyteller. And obviously we all have a story.
Absolutely. Well, tell us a bit about your story. So, who is Peshah? I got a little bit before the show, but share it with our audience.
Yeah, so New York City area, outside of New York City. So I have very much that drive, seed, and to be competitive with myself. And then I went to corporate America. Always was doing my art. So I had a lot of creative positions. So I worked in internet startups. So I was able to develop companies from initially having an idea leading into these. And what I saw was a pattern which I didn't have, but I met so many people, Kim, and they were exceptionally creative, gifted, amazing ideas. And I was baffled, just stayed stuck. They just didn't seem to know creative abilities to making that their life. And then additionally in that, I noticed a pattern, and it really broke my heart. I would hear in New York City, Washington, D.C. areas where I lived. And as I corporations and companies, I have people. And so these are in very vibrant areas, right? Where there's a lot of opportunity. They all would almost, I'm a starving artist. I don't even voice, because if you say I am. And so I just couldn't figure that out. It was a question mark. And so my life evolved that with undergrad school, with major companies like DuPont and pharmaceutical, then working in internet startups, and my undergraduate therapy. So I had the mental health aspect of it, and ended up my life evolved into a plan and an intent, but people just start to play. I have no idea what to do, Pesh. I have this idea, business from it. And these are all people that consider themselves creators or artists. And this was was not something that was common. So these were just didn't know what to do. And so it happened in an organic manner. Approach me and say, what do I do? You were saying, Kim, there's the entire business aspect. There's also the mental, emotional, spiritual aspect of it, which is usually stuff that are creative. And so it morphed into its own something that I created called community projects. And this formal way that artists can develop relationships, and cities, towns, and neighborhoods can be revived, and artists can succeed. So if I made it very simple, I would say this. In any way, and you wanted to develop a business, simple way to annihilate the starving artist dilemma. Answer to that.
And what is that answer?
And the answer is
email you.
So artists well, yes, they can, of course, they can email chat on Swanky Genius or 1213 Jewelry. Yeah, there's that. Just Google me, you'll find.
But what? Yeah. But what's the answer? I am curious.
Yeah, so the answer. So here we have starving artists, and starving artists are lonely and feel very lost, disconnected of it, which, being forthright in my conversation, to depression, because isolation, loneliness leads to depression. So you have these highly creative people that are down or sad in some way. And then you have communities that, I would say this in every, just survived through the pandemic, that towns, cities, and neighborhoods need to be. And so community projects is where you take artists and the neighborhoods, towns, and cities that they live in, and you develop relationships and the leaders, and then they're helping the communities. The communities are helping the artists, and literally the hopelessness just. But very important, the financial aspect is there. To make it very simple, it's really promoting yourself by helping other people. Since artists are usually either put off or even selling their art because they're sensitive, when artists work in conjunction with causes, organizations, community, they're selling their art anymore. They feel like they're part of something. So isolation goes away and it comes in its place. And it's solidified. And I can give you examples in my own life of what I did. No different than anyone else. I'm probably more people, but not for any reason except I am. But I can give you, it's like not based on my life experience. I just am determined. And so my passion is for us, anyone creative, anyone artistic, even if they say I'm an artist, I'm not that good, is that we can get all of these creative people, communities, and the communities will thrive, and the artists and creators will thrive. And I can give you, as I said, a lot of examples of how I did it myself. And I am a person like everyone else can. Like I don't have, you'd say, well, I worked in corporate America. Like I just things. That's all that I did. So any artist, any creator, community project, and their lives can change this week. Their lives can change today. It really, truly can.
We had a cool project here, or have a cool project here in Calgary, where the city looked at all the electrical, the big electrical boxes, the big green or gray metal ones that are all over the city, right? And what they did is they put out a thing, an all call, and artists were allowed to submit how they would paint that, the story they would put on that box. And these are all on major crossroads in like you're seeing them, right? And they paid the artist. So you could submit, and if you were awarded, if you were approved, and I think they had I don't know, it must have been 1,500 artists. And then the artists sign it, and the artists get to go right onto the city website as a city artist.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, that is so cool. But how, if you're in, well, we were just talking about Bozeman. Let's say Bozeman, Montana, which is a smaller market. So let's say they've got 50 of these, and it wasn't something they thought of. How would an artist, how would you go and approach economic development or city council to say, this is a great program? So, how do you do that?
Right. Yeah. So I'll answer that directly, and then I'll add a little bit. The first I want to say is wait till you feel brave enough, because pretty much every human being doesn't feel whatever it is. Like it really is, at some point you just make a little decision that you're going to put on your blue jeans and go talk to someone. So you will have to do that much. It's so worth it. So first is what take the project that you were referencing, and we make it in Bozeman, Montana. You said not a large population. You would just go to City Hall and just start asking questions. So my very I advise action taking is the morning, and tell yourself by lunchtime you're going to person that can help you in that, just one person, and let it be okay. You're going to be terrified anyway. So just take that one step. And so where to start? I want to encourage anyone that's listening. And as odd as this might sound, it really doesn't matter where you start. And I'm not to be ambiguous or to have a coined term. I'll use myself as an example. When I started, when the idea of community project, it was because corporate America, but I have an undergrad degree in mental health counseling. I saw, how do we take the way that we think and believe to get something done and succeed? So this is what very first story. So there was a organization called Advocates for Freedom, and they work from human trafficking. So office, I set an appointment. I went in and I just sat down in the office and spoke with these other women. It was brand new, just like anyone else. This brand new. And so I told them, I said, I'm an artist, and this is what you offer. I'm an artist. I want to create for your organization. I want to help. All you have to say. And this could be, as you said, or it could be for your local recycling center. It could be for, you don't have to, it doesn't have to start a museum or things of that sort that I've done over time. It's any organization, any you feel passionate about, and just go and talk to them. And I rarely use life because it's such a strong word, but I can promise you that if you start to talk to people, you are going to be so delightfully surprised with response, because people love artists and creative people that are in more structured environments. They have no creativity. I went to Freedom. I sat down with Susan, the director, and they said, what's your idea? And I said, well, what if I design a jewelry and scheme of your Advocates for organization, created high, and then these high heel earrings have my name on them. They're promoted on their website and they said, we love it. Can you make? And I'll address in a minute what if you don't have a craft like that. To consolidate it, that became a 10-year relationship, setting up fundraisers, at casino fundraisers, like these are, and that all came from me making a phone into this upstairs office, not anything fancy, and just sitting down with these women and saying, I'm an artist, how can I? And obviously I could talk for days and hours about it, but I do want to anyone creative listening to me and they say, well, I'm a dancer, or I'm a poet, or I'm a sculptor. I can't just make something for an organization. Yes, you can. And this is how. So if you're sculpting, and then you can get note cards made from that and postcards made from that. And that's what you promote. If you're never work, I don't have the money to invest in, a student. No, this is 2024 for that organization. You put it online, and they always help with the promoting. It's that simple. You write a poem, and the same, printed as note cards. It's market. I don't want to spend too much time, but my is I'm encouraging everyone that's creative, artistic, that when you say, but I can't sell my poetry, I can't, it won't work for me. I promise you, it will work for you. If you don't know how, contact me. Absolutely. Works for creative.
It is said your net worth is in your network. And a lot of people don't hear this term because they're maybe not in the entrepreneurial or sales space.
Right.
However, this is a term I have known since I was 25 years of age and have been an entrepreneur. And so your net worth is in your network. And what Pesha's saying is put on your pants, get out there and shake somebody's hand. Have a conversation. You never know where the opportunity lies, and be open. I find that a lot of people, academics, artists, in general, people who are operating, I call kind of in that genius zone, can get a
Right.
little restrictive on how they view what they're doing. So be open to adaptive or transferable skill sets.
And it doesn't have to be threat. What makes community projects distinct from any other way of networking people, and this is what it is. The core of community projects is, what is it you love? Any artist, creator, entrepreneur that's hearing this now for a moment, it'll only take a moment. And what do you love? You dogs. I love to I live in an inner city area, and I've wanted a garden in this inner city area for 10 years and cannot get it going. So the very first is, think of one thing you're passionate about. Next is where you put on your blue or whatever it would be, and step. And I'll tell you why that step will be then sell networking, which I know is really hard for a lot of creative people. Creative people are sensitive. Networking, uncomfortable. But you're not going to do that with community projects. Is, what is one thing you really hard? And then take a step in doing look like. And you want to help dogs in your area, then go to the Humane Center and all the shelter services. Say, I'm an artist and I want to help somehow to raise funds for me. They'll utilize you. Or if it's the garden, your inner city. I lived in inner cities a lot, and you just really want to have a hands-on garden there for of all ages to come together. Then simple as, you can set up your art anywhere that they'll allow you to, like say in the park, and you set up your art and talk to people and say 20% of everything raised today is going into a fund that will start the city garden we've been talking about. It's that easy. And again, I could talk for a long time, trying to keep it short.
No, that's fine.
I want to give definitive scenarios so that it's not something, it's, you don't like marketing, you're shy, you're uncomfortable, but there's something that means a lot to you. And if you come at this from what means, and using your art in that, evolves into relationships without you, because you can talk about what you love for a long time, no matter how shy of an artist or creator. And ask you to start talking about how those dogs were rescued, or what that garden would do, all the retirement home in the area. No matter how shy an artist is, they're going to be able to talk about that, and it works.
So in the course of your journeys, can you share a time that you really had to have grit and resilience in order to push through to get to where you are today?
Yeah. Oh, and it might sound, but I would say all of it, because I'm a, that, you know, second, I'm very driven, and that's popular. I'm kind, but I'm very driven. So hurdles I've had to overcome everything from a marriage that ended violent. That's very relatable. A long time ago, but that was something that I had to bring myself out of. No one else could do that. And then the anti-Semitic, I've dealt with a lot. Life is a lot of people have dealt with things of that sort in their life and not do anything about, but you found a way that no matter what, I just kept going because there's no matter what. So in that,
Absolutely.
there, yeah, everyone has that. I think it helps to hear other people's stories because if I use myself as an example, if I didn't tell you what I just told you, you might think I was whatever Italian. We kind of all look the same. And then you would have known what happened to you in that marriage 20 some years ago. You would have thought, oh, on interviews and podcasts, people say, well, it's easy for you because your jewelry sold in museums. It's easy for you because you have this project. It's easy for you because you're an artist. And it's like, no, I'm the same as everyone. It wasn't easy for me, but it's necessary for me to push myself. The only way to do that is to actually that is other people that I would be able to help.
Sorry. I was talking to you. Can you sorry. And I got to mark that down, 2658. All right. So you talked about authorship. Can you walk us through your books and journals and what the reader can expect?
Absolutely. So the book series is Swanky Genius, and the purpose behind Swanky Genius is to encourage. Absolutely. The initial book, 10 Ways to No Longer, it's a quick read in an hour or 2 hours. And it addresses creators and entrepreneurs. And it gives you 10 specific ways that you can take action easily and move from a position of not earning a living from your art, from your creating that. So 10 ways to no longer being a depressed artist. It's swankygenius.com, and it is. And the journals and coloring books are this original art in them, and Star illustrates them. I do all the content for them, and these are uplifting. It's Swanky Genius, the bird, cat, and those are the two characters that are featured in the Swanky Genius book series. So it's positive, and it's a way to stay motivated, and 10 ways to know, much based on community projects and practical ways to market your art and create.
Yeah, absolutely unique ways to market that. So I had this is if you could go through where people can find you, follow you, and engage with you, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So the websites are genius.com, and that's for the books and on both of these, and emails and links. So either swankygenius.com, that's a 5-star rated line of jewelry I've been doing for many years, also DMs. And so feel free to contact me there. And then if you followed businesses, and again, you can contact me on the messaging there it's on Instagram at 1213.jewelry or Real Lamp the Can Genius. So everything is there on the screen, or if you go to the rest of the information about me. But I'd love to hear that has even work and just thinks what to do next. I'm here to help. I'm here to help.
Amazing. Amazing. So I always close out the show with a quote from our guest, and you have provided an amazing quote. And I think I think this quote is actually an affirmation So if you could share this and give us the quote and then tell us why this is important to you.
Absolutely. So all artists gain their livelihood through their art form. So we can annihilate and completely kill the starving artist. And my heart is that anyone who wants to earn a living from their art, from their creativity, they think we no longer have to go along with this idea. It's just an idea that's a starving artist dilemma. And let's make it not a dilemma through community. And I'm happy to help in any way that I can. But I want in reference to years ago. Anyone watching this, do you realize that the term starving is newer? Like, we have this as a reality, and I'm not speaking in, or I'm saying actually in previous times, artists were at the top of society. They were at the pinnacle. And so that we just beyond accept that starving artists, it's actually not legitimate. But I'm told so much. Friends among one another, I'm a starving artist, I can't earn a living. And it's like, no, if it wasn't that way, and it is just an ambiguous way, but in a very clear way, projects. And I'll add in conclusion that this isn't about me, something that I created, global paradigm shift, and whether it's or a neighborhood or any passion that can actually create and revive neighborhoods through community projects. And all it takes is a willing to ask some questions, and then they don't need me. They just need a little bit of information. They start their own. We can no longer have starving artists, and we can revive cities and communities.
Amazing. Pesha, you're a rock star. Thank you. And you know what? This really does go in line where the world is going right now. The industrial age of all the manual labor, we are moving past and through, and we're going back to that exploratory space of creating uniqueness and sharing beauty. So if you are an artist and any kind of artist, don't hoard your talent. Get out there and share it. Give Peshah a call. And until next time, you know what? I just want to thank you again for sharing your time and give yourself a little bit of space and grace, because I promise you, you're worth it. Thank you for joining us here today at Kim Talks Resilience. I'm your host, Kim Hayden, and I'd love to invite you to our resilient community at resilientgift.com. That's resilientgift.com, and we'll send you our magazine and tickets for upcoming events and all sorts of cool things we do here. So be sure to keep watching. And you know what? Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, because we all know that sharing is caring.